Alrighty, guys, welcome back to the Left of Str8 Show interviews, the premier podcast that shares the stories of our amazing LGBTQ community and, of course, fantastic straight allies, all from entertainment, foodies, books, music, and advocacy. I'm your host, as always, Scott Fullerton, and let's start talking. Well, hey, friends, it's time for another great interview here, and I have the immense pleasure of hosting two incredibly talented individuals from the highly anticipated film, The Mattachine Family. In studio with me today is the visionary director Andy Vallentine, known for his ability to weave powerful, emotive stories that resonated with audiences far and wide, from short form music and entertainment videos to this amazing feature film debut. Along with him today, we have the charismatic and multifaceted actor, singer, and director as well. Juan Pablo Di Pace is with us, whose performances have captivated viewers on both the big and small screens and on stages around the world. The Mattachine Family is opening wide this week and delves into the themes of love, family, and community, offering a heartfelt exploration of our queer experiences. I'm thrilled to have Andy and Juan Pablo with me to discuss their journeys in making this film, the impact we hope it'll have. But first, let's take a look.
Hello, Thomas. Come to the party with us, won't you?
I'm not going. Please don't have sex in front of me again.
Thomas, hi.
Oh, I was hoping you'd come by.
Thomas is a fabulous photographer. You're good?
I think I am. What about you? What do you do?
I'm a mommy.
We love that.
My best friend donated his sperm.
There's no real rule book for this.
I didn't even think it was an option until it happened.
Oh, you're a dad.
I was, but I was a foster dad. My husband Oscar and I had 1 year with Arthur. One birthday, one perfect summer, one Christmas, and one goodbye.
Neither of you were his father. It was always temporary.
He's going back to his birth mom.
I don't know where to go from here. It's like all my options feel wrong. Yeah, you're my oldest friend. It's weird how we're going through something so similar yet so different.
Didn't even bring me miscarriage flowers.
What if I told you I brought you Italian food from that place on Hillhurst?
Go get it, I'm hungry.
Okay, come on, it feels like everyone we know is either having kids or talking about having kids. I'm looking at options for us.
Let's find out if you're fertile. You're not doing this for us. You're doing this for you.
You and I decided this. You were devastated.
I was devastated. What about you?
I don't want to be a father. I don't.
What does that mean for us? I feel like I already lost you.
You want to look back on your life and know that you fought when things got hard. Would you lie with?
Well, gentlemen, welcome to the Left of Str8 Show. How are we doing today?
Great.
Good.
I appreciate you so much taking the time to come on the show. I know this premiered at the Seattle Film Festival, so you guys have been doing this for about a day and a half now, right? Goodness gracious. How's that going?
Great. We had a great run at the film festivals. We premiered at Seattle. I can't believe it, but it was a year ago. And now we've been on, I think, 50 plus film festivals. So finally, it's coming out for everybody who's been asking.
I am so excited for you guys. Thank you so much for the trailer. I got a little advanced sneak and enjoyed the film so much. I know you've done a lot of press. I'm going to try to make the questions a little interesting for you guys. I'm sure you've been asked all of them. I do like to start first question for first timers on the show. I mean, the title implies this film's about family, right? And it's we have the families we're born into and those experiences we have when we're younger. We have our intimate partners become families, and then we have our chosen family that everyone gets to do. Talk about your journey, your queer journey. Where did you find your tribe at first? When you finding your LGBTQ tribe, Andy?
Good question. Scott. I think, for me, it was I found my chosen family in college. So like a lot of people in the queer community, it was, came up with a religious uh, history. Parents were evangelicals, and so wasn't really able to be myself until I got to college and I started meeting other gay folks, and started, relying heavily on them, in terms of like my growth as a person, and as a filmmaker. And then that has been a consistent theme for me throughout. So it is like no matter where we go, whether I was in Michigan, where I grew up and went to school, to coming out here to California and finding my chosen family out here. Always been a very important thing for me and for a lot of the LGBTQ community, which is one of the big major themes of the film.
Amazing. And Juan Pablo, you came out a little bit later, at least publicly. Talk about your journey in finding an LGBTQ tribe for yourself.
Well, I really came out like at 19. So the whole thing that you probably heard about, it was not a coming out. It was something that I think the media liked to think about as a coming out, but it really wasn't. Because the people that matter in my life all knew, and I was, going to bars and clubs and whatever since I'm 19 years old. So no, for me it was I want to say London. When I moved to London at 19, actually, it was the first time that I kind of was living side by side with equals, artists, singers, dancers. We were ushers at theaters, right? So that was the way that I was able to study in the morning and in the afternoon, and at night I would go and tear tickets at the Royal Opera House and the Lion King in London. And all of the people that I used to work with were all gay or queer, and so that was kind of like my just meeting like-minded people in that way, and it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I lived the best London years, I think, which are like 2000 to 2009. It was pre-phones, pre-smartphones. So you really did experience everything and got to, flirt face to face. And yeah, so I guess my chosen family was very much in the art world of going to dance school and working as an usher in the evening. I was surrounded by gay people all the time.
I love that. Well, Andy, let's talk about the film a sec. I mean, The Mattachine Family was written by you and your husband, Danny, and based on a lot of the questions you guys were asking each other. Talk about that dynamic of working together now and being part of the family. What was something you maybe learned about each other professionally that you hadn't known before? Was there any kind of fun revelations you guys had throughout the process?
I mean, of course, we had to figure out how to make it work. I think that like Danny is a very, beautiful person that needs time to think about certain scenes and about, how to evolve these characters. And I am the opposite, the director, where I am like, ooh, they got to do this. Like, why aren't they going from A to B? And so I can be overpowering, right? Because that is a trait of my personality. I walk on the set with 100 people and I, have to not command, but I have to direct everybody,
Sure.
to make the best possible thing. And so my husband and I, we learned at the beginning of when we started this about how do we write this? Do we write this together? Do we write this separately? And then, so it really evolved into this, we would talk about story and plot and character, and then Danny would go off and write, and then I would come back and we would work on it together, and read it out loud. And so had to figure out the right path to do it to keep the marriage together.
There you go. That is awesome. I can imagine
Yeah.
there was little tricks of the trade. And Juan Pablo, I mean, you got to be starting to become an expert in family life, along with this fantastic film you have branching out on Hallmark Channel. I mean, you're working things in all different directions. What has it kind of taught you about maybe wanting a family or learning about family life from the outside?
yeah, I'm kind of stuck with this dad thing now. Um,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm a daddy. I don't know. Maybe. I don't. You know what? It's I'm being typecast because I don't want to be. I'm in my life. I'm pretty happy. Just sort of. I guess my children are the. It's my art.
Right.
We might have lost him.
Oh, that's all right. We'll get back to him. We'll get him back here.
All right.
All right, let's go on to Andy. I want to talk about for a second. I mean, you're proudly queer, you're proudly dyslexic, you're proud Diet Coke drinker. Talk about the dyslexia for a second. How is that done through your filmmaking process? What tricks of the trade have you learned? Has it helped you in studying script? Have you found little tricks to deal with that? And has it improved or become a detriment for your filmmaking?
You're back,
Juan,
Jake.
Juan.
Yeah, good question, Scott. I think being dyslexic, I just realized from a young age that like reading and writing were not my thing. And so I relied heavily on how to tell stories visually. And so, similar story to a lot of filmmakers, like picked up that camera from an early age. And, instead of writing a paper for high school, I was like, hey, can I make a video? Which grew my love for directing. But it also gave me, another kind of unique trait, to my life and to my journey, that I try to apply to my films.
Oh, I love that. And Juan Pablo, we got you back now. So you were finishing up how your art is obviously your baby's there and kind of you're growing through that. Talk about, I mean, Danny's worked through his dyslexia going through. You come from another country. Was there any issues you had getting into the business or anything you've overcome or anything that was maybe originally a hindrance that's kind of now an asset to you?
Yeah, I guess my being other, because when I first started my career was, like I said, in London. And so when I decided that I wanted to act and be in movies, which came after being a dancer and singer and sort of musicals and all that, but then I was like, you know what, I really want to do this. I want to do film. I realized that there was a lot of sort of preconceived casting ideas about, oh, you look Latino, so you can only play salsa teachers and waiters and and some other thing, taxi drivers. And so I didn't have really interesting parts for a long time in my career. I want to say like a good 7-8 years where I was just like, it felt like Groundhog Day. And it took me moving away from there, going to Spain. So in Spain, I was able to play a Spanish person, which, means all kinds of people, right, in Spain. And after that, I'm very grateful to the States, because in the States, I was able to, after Spain, when I moved to the States, it didn't really matter most of the time what nationality I was from. I was just playing characters. But for a very long time, it was a big frustration where I just kept thinking, why can't I play, like someone with a problem, not just someone with an accent and a hair color.
Of course.
So yeah, that I'm glad that kind of shifted for sure.
I bet.
Yeah,
Oh, just when you get a question, we lose you again. All right, we'll have you back in a second. It's one of those internet connection days, boys and girls. Well, Andy, back to the film. I mean, you created this film. It's based on questions you and Danny were asking yourselves at the time about having your own family. Now you have this incredible movie. You finish filming, and all of a sudden you have a beautiful young daughter come into the picture. So now you're in the editing bay and 2 a.m. feedings. How does one kind of feed into the other after the fact of filming the movie?
Oh boy, it was a to do. No, it was like after the movie, after we got done, our daughter
closely all that shit
was born a month later. And so it was just this, incredible experience to have these two moments, these two highs of your life happen one right after another. And then to go into the edit bay and to figure out, you know, really half of the director's work, if not more, happens in post-production in terms of like figuring out the tone of the film, the pacing of the film, what from what you shot should actually go into the movie, what works, what doesn't work. It's all of these puzzle pieces that you're putting together, you know. So it is very much, you know, when you shoot the movie, it is like you're building out those puzzle. You're literally like cutting the puzzle, right? You're cutting the pieces out.
Right.
And then once you go into post, that's when you assemble things. And so yes, for sure, challenging moments of, you know, trying to figure out who I am as a person, as a dad, you know, and dealing with the late night feedings and dealing with the no sleep, and then to go back into the office to try to put a movie together, you know, was real fun.
You are a trooper, my friend. Juan Pablo, we have you back here. I want you to talk about the music for a second. I mean, I'm the kind of person where to lift my mood, I watch different YouTube videos. And I have to tell you, for 7 years, Your Both Sides Now has been on my playlist about every 3 months. That was the most remarkable song you did in New York. And I would have loved to see that in the film, but Moon River played such an amazing plot point. So talk about the soundtrack, talk about what music means to you in these films. Have you ever thought about putting a song together for a film?
Yes, I have, and yes, I did. Yeah, I loved it when Andy told me that I would be singing Moon River, because for a while we didn't know if it was going to be possible, and then it was, and so it was beautiful. Yeah, I mean, it's part of my DNA. Music is something I absolutely love, and like you said, I'm actually doing 2 more concerts in New York soon. So yeah, stay tuned. But I'm doing again at studio. I'm at 54 Below. So it's something that I keep alive. But for me, music in film is so important because it's yet another form of kind of telling the audience something that is not dialogue, that is not, you know, conversation, but it's something else. And for example, something that I loved and I implemented that Andy did when I directed my own film was that he made a playlist before we even started shooting. And he shared that with us, with the actors. And just by listening to the soundscape of his mind, where he was thinking, it was so kind of easy to get in the world of how he wanted to make this movie and those feelings and that quality. And even though I don't know, Andy, if any of those songs ended up in the movie, but it's very similar, like that whole soundscape of the movie. And so then I did it with mine, and same thing, I shared it with my actors. And yeah, I mean, music is a huge thing on branching out. I do sing, I think, 2 songs. In my movie, the theme song is my voice. So yeah, I always try to put it in there.
I love that. Well, you and I have a bunch of different connections. I told you on social media that I know Justin Root real well, but also I'm very good friends with Emerson and Scott and Blake from People's Couch. I know Scott produced your shows in Palm Springs, those amazing sold out shows. So he was telling me what a great experience that was. So I'm gonna have to try to see you in New York. So that's amazing. But Andy, talk about the significance of Moon River, because it has a significance part of your life, right?
Sure. Yeah. Moon River was really Danny's and my song. That was our song that we danced to at our wedding. You know, it was very much something that we both wanted in the film. I think that Moon River comes with, it already, when you listen to it, you know, at the audience, it already comes with baggage. Whether or not you like the song, it comes with like a little bit of history. It comes with like a little bit of emotion, you know, that you're bringing to it by just putting it into the film. And so I wanted the audience, you know, to bring their already existing knowledge and experience with that song and add that to our film as I was giving to it. So very happy. As Juan Pablo said, we didn't know if we could afford it at the beginning, went back and forth. So appreciate everybody at the Moon River team for allowing us to have that in our film, the song in our film.
That's amazing. I'm so it has such a great. And before we leave, I'm gonna make Juan Pablo put his back to the camera and just point his finger because I can't sleep at night. And if you know, you know. We'll leave that till the end of the movie, but I need to see what his finger looks like if he points the other way there, just in case.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. I like it. And let's talk about the casting, Andy. While we're talking about that, I mean, from we have this great cast. Not only we have Juan Pablo, but you have Nico Tortorella does so much. Emily Hampshire, Jake Choi. I mean, Carl. Everybody's talk about the casting on this for your first feature. You hit it out of the park, my friend.
Right? We did. We had an incredible casting director, Scott Fullerton, who cast some massive movies from Contact to Lord of the Rings to Flight. A huge staple in the industry, and Scott wanted to also participate in the indie film side. This was his first kind of forte into producing. And so Scott cast the film and then also produced with us. And so, Scott leveraged, a ton of connections that he had or that he has. And we were able just to put together, this really incredible cast to tell, the best possible version of the film. I think that was like something also that stuck out to me with our cast is that they all came to this. This isn't a movie where everybody is walking away with a massive paycheck, right? Like this is something that you do as an indie film, before distribution, that you do because you're passionate about the story. And so every person, that participated was so excited just to be there to help tell this new story. And I am forever grateful, for that cast for lending me those, 20 some odd days in November.
Well, I have to tell you, you do so much with so little, and I appreciate it. I had Garrett Clayton on back in October when he was doing Rocky Horror up in Rochester, and I told him how The Lettermen was one of my favorite films. I mean, you knocked that out of the park, my friend, and I love that you gave Clayton a little cameo and Matthew with just some great job on that. I love that. That for me, that was a great Easter egg.
I am definitely one of those directors that like love when I connect with actors. And so love working with people, and if I work with you once, I want to work with you again. So
nice. That's amazing. Juan Pablo, I want to talk to you, and this may be in Andy's and Danny's script, or maybe an acting choice for you, but one of the things that I loved about the movie and it could all be in my head, but in the first half, you really need to show that love because you're in a lot of flashbacks and everything, right? So you really need to show these characters are in love. And I don't know if it's a Latin thing. I don't know if it's a Juan Pablo thing, but you were very touchy-feely with Nico's character, and you showed that love through touch and emotion. And then after you get to Michigan, then all of a sudden Nico's touching out to you, and when it's a little different way, I saw Nico doing a lot more of the touching. Talk about getting into that character and feeling that love and building that to show what you guys were all about. I mean, the flashbacks are great, but that had to be kind of hard to play a bit.
I want to give you a really clever answer about acting choices. I think I was just excited to work with Nico, so I was very touchy-feely with Nico. And of course, later in the story, the scene needed something else. There was more of a separation. When we get to the motel, you can really feel that separation between them. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's a mixture. It's a mixture of conversations we had with Andy about the scenes. That's a lot in direction and how we understand the scene before we dive into it. It's also to do with how I show affection to the people that are close to me as well. I don't know if I'm very touchy-feely, but if I like someone, I'm all over them. So So yeah, and yeah, that was a part that was also very fun to build something with Nico that was it just felt very real, very authentic to these two people. So it's a mixture. It's a mixture of many things, I guess.
Beautifully acted, beautifully directed. Absolutely love it. I just thought it just added to the film and built that authenticity so much between your action and Andy's direction. So I thought it was fantastic. We got to start wrapping up.
I will say I did add a few. There are a good catch on it. That was a decision to, like, I don't know if you knew this, but there, you know, how the blocking was in like the grocery store, having the counter in between you, like that was a conscious decision to try to create separation from the two of you. And then also in the kitchen, there's like this great fight moment, having you on either side of that. Like I wanted that, you know, that distinction.
Yeah, I honestly, I don't want to take credit because it is all Andy's direction. No, but it's true. It's true. It's very obvious. You know, I remember the blocking on the first fight. Was very specific. You know, and we were in different levels at one point, and so that's you know, did his homework.
That is great filmmaking, my friends, and I love picking up on things like that. So amazing. We got to wrap it up because I know you guys have had a long press day here. You guys have been, like I said, been living with us now for a year. It's going to be opening wide, video on demand very soon. Let me finish it up by letting you guys ask each other a question. Andy, what would you like to know about Juan Pablo that you maybe have not asked him in the past year and a half you guys have been working together?
Juan Pablo, as a director yourself, would there have been something that you would have done differently if you were in my shoes? Was it a scene or was it a character choice? What would you have done differently?
I can't really say because I honestly felt like you were so in healthy control of it. And what I mean by that is you never were kind of like this is my way and I want you to do this, you know. You're very kind of not only welcoming to ideas but also nurturing as a director. So I if anything, I took from that, you know. I kind of took a leaf out of your book, and when I directed, I probably was more of a tyrant than you were. In mine, like that's just my personality. I'm a Leo. I'm a control freak. You know, you're definitely more just more generous, more kind. I definitely played with my actor's psyche.
That is sweet to say and fun to hear. What question do you have of Andy you maybe always wanted to ask him, Juan Pablo?
Yeah. Well, I think I got a hint today, but okay, no. What was the deciding factor to choose me to play Oscar?
You were, I mean, it came down to a few great actors. I think that you were always on our list from the very beginning, and those other actors weren't. So like I had been aware of you and familiar of your work. But I think there was like something in the audition that you were, even though you were playing this role that, you know, essentially is like a part antagonist of the story, right? Like depending on who you are, if Nico is the protagonist who wants the children, you are the person who doesn't want the children. So you could say you're the antagonist to Nico's desires, to Thomas's desires and wants. There was still something so charming about you and so lovable that I enjoyed, and I felt that that was the perfect feeling that I wanted to give the movie. I did not want the audience to go in there and be like, oh, Oscar is such a terrible person, or he's mean, or he's rough around the edges. You know, that he's still, while maybe I'm disagreeing with him as an audience member, he has like valid points, right? And so you offered that when we started talking and when we started, you know, doing our chemistry reads. You know, there was something special there. Like it was like it just was like, it was conflicting, and I was like, that's good for the audience, is to feel like a little bit conflicted. So, and honestly, like that's been a great reaction to the film from a lot of people who come and they go, well, I never want kids. A lot of LGBT people are like, I don't want everyone kids. But I appreciate how you framed Oscar's desires and his wishes, because career obviously is very important, and how your life is very important, and not wanting kids is okay, right? And so I don't think that people, if you're coming into this movie and you're more like that sense, you're still going to get value out of this, and you're still going to find appreciation within, Oscar's character, within your character. So.
No, I love that. It's funny because I had a question. I had a question, I think in one of the festivals, from someone who was like, how does it feel to be the bad guy?
Yeah.
And I'm going, bad guy? Bad guy? I'm a nice guy. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
And that says a lot about how sort of an actor is so in its own world.
Yes.
That we can't judge, we can't see our character to be a bad character.
Yeah.
He's just doing the best out of the situation he's in.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I always see it. And I felt that's how you wrote it,
Yeah.
I mean, Danny wrote it. I never ever saw an antagonist there.
Yeah. I mean, there's elements of it, right? I mean, as an antagonist, in terms of you're standing in Thomas's way. But it's also, Thomas doesn't make those decisions until, midway through the movie or whatever. So it's like, it is, you don't turn that until later on. So
yeah.
There you go. Well, again, extremely well acted, extremely well directed. Andy Vallentine and Juan Pablo Di Pace, it's so great to have you on the Left of Str8 show. Juan Pablo, for those that have been living under a rock, let them know where they can find you on social media and find your fantastic website to hopefully see these Studio 54 concerts coming up and get some advance notice here.
So yeah, look out for Studio 54 New York for October tickets, and 54 Below website. And then Juan Pablo Di Pace, Instagram, all that stuff. Di Pace, DIPACE. And then also, if you want to have a look at my new movie, which is called Duino, is DUINO movie.com.
Fantastic. Andy, you have an amazing website yourself that keeps us telling where they can find the film, where it's going to be on video on demand, and talk about your socials as well, my friend.
Yeah, you can follow me at Andy Vallentine with 2 L's on Instagram, or andyvallentine.com. You can also follow the movie, the Mattachine Family movie, on Instagram, on TikTok, where you will find lots of fun videos. Get ready. We're doing all the crazy social videos. They're there. And then, Mattachine Family comes out in the US and Canada on June 4th. On most platforms, on Amazon, on Apple, on Google Play.
Thanks for listening to The Left of Str8 Show. Be sure to subscribe on your favorite podcast distributor, and please give us a 5-star rating so more listeners can find us. You can follow us on social media, and be sure to check out our website for contests and other news and information. See you next week.